I'd like to call the planning development to order, please. Could I have a roll?
Counselor Walker?
Here.
Counselor Allen? Here. Counselor Plunkett?
Here.
Could I get a motion to approve the minutes for August 19th, 2024? Counselor Allen, Counselor Plunkett.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Seeing no old business, we'll go to new business. Under authorization, the zoning and planning office requests a public hearing to be scheduled for the properties known as 193, 195, and 197 West Fifth Street for the proposed zone change from TN2 Traditional Neighborhood 2 to TB Traditional Business pursuant to section of 280-96 of the zoning ordinance. Would anybody like to speak on this?
So Stewart's is looking for a zone change on these properties so that they can expand their business, similar to exactly what they did on the east side. They bought a couple residential houses, and as you know, on the main drag, both on Bridge Street and Utica Street, it's traditional business on actual Utica Street, but behind that is residential property zoned traditional neighborhoods. So these three addresses that they're looking at purchasing would need to be rezoned as traditional business in order for them to expand the business. I believe there was three on the east side too. It was the exact same thing on the east side.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have
Sean,
anything?
go ahead.
Did they already purchase the houses, or are they waiting to get the zone changed before? I see they're still owned.
I believe they're waiting to make sure they have the zone change before they actually purchase them.
Understood, thank you.
It's my understanding.
Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Goza.
Oh, no, I just had a comment. I was just gonna say, obviously, everybody here goes to the Stewart shops, and it's extreme gain to this driveway, and I live right here, and I'm sure a lot of people stop for you who don't live in the neighborhood. Comparable, like a big M, obviously, that's the opposition. I would strongly advocate everyone to support this only because of the fact that it's gotta make it a lot safer and more space.
Thank you very much. Like I said, this is just going for a public hearing, so would I have a motion on this? Counselor Allen, Counselor Plunkett. Thanks, Jeff.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
We'll go to number 2. City Attorney Kevin Caracoli requests a discussion regarding the moratorium of the approved establishments selling vaping and smoking products and paraphernalia. Mr. Caracoli.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. We have a growing problem in the city of Oswego, and before it gets out of control and reaches epidemic level, I think it's time to study the regulations surrounding smoke shops. These are not your mom and pop stores where you can get a pack of cigarettes or a cigar with your racing form. These establishments have evolved into unregulated businesses that are selling illegal and unregulated tobacco products and derivatives, in particular cannabis knockoffs, synthetic marijuana, Delta 8, things of that nature. They will come into town and they will tell you that they're running a convenience store, and they present nice photos and plans of what does look like a convenience store, but then when you peel back the onion a little bit more, you realize that they're selling smoking products, paraphernalia, bowls, bongs, hookahs, glass pipes, which is all well and good, and I'm not trying to abridge anyone's individual freedoms to do what they want in that regard, but when you're coming into a city such as Oswego and setting up in our most vulnerable neighborhoods, and in addition to those products that you can smoke out of or ingest your drug of choice, you're mixing that with illegal and unregulated products. it just spells disaster for a neighborhood, and we've come too far to let it all just go to waste. So what's the solution? The immediate solution is to adopt a moratorium to study the issue. I don't know that we can completely eradicate the sale of many of these products, but we can restrict and control it to certain time, place, and manner in particular locations. So get them out of the neighborhoods, the traditional neighborhoods, and into more restricted areas. Similar to what we did with the cannabis dispensaries. Again, the state of New York legalized that activity. The city of Oswego and this council, not necessarily this rendition of the council, but this council made the conscious decision to not opt out of the law so that dispensaries are allowed in the city of Oswego. What we did with the zoning changes is we restricted that particular establishment and activity to the far eastern area of the city, out by the plazas, and that's where the first dispensary is going. I might add that that's a legal dispensary that has gone through all of the process, made a significant investment. Whether you like the activity or not, it's here, and at least they're following the rules. What we have with some of these other establishments that we have come across more recently within the last couple of months is they come in, they seek zoning approval for one thing, and then when nobody's looking, they bring in all the illegal stuff. And it's hard for the local community to regulate that. You try to rely on the state of New York. The Office of Cannabis Management has an enforcement unit. We've made requests for them to come into the city to investigate some of these establishments, but they're overwhelmed, and it's difficult. And I know Chief Katie's here and may wish to speak to this, but it's difficult for local law enforcement even to stay on top of these things. So, someone said that the best way to prevent this from happening is not to let them in to begin with. And at the very least, we need to study the issue and come up with a consensus on how we're going to regulate the activity. Now, that's my opinion, and I know I speak for Mayor Cordino on that. I've also spoken to Mr. McGann, who fields these zoning applications. So I know that this is only on for discussion purposes, but I'm happy to take any questions or to defer to any one of those gentlemen as well.
So,
Mr. Allen?
thank you, Sean. So for the existing establishments, this moratorium wouldn't do anything to limit them in any way, or would it?
The existing establishments, it would not immediately affect them, but that's one of the things that we need to look at. And one way to address ongoing establishments that could become an issue is to create some type of sunsetting provision so that you give them enough time to, to clear out their inventory, for instance, or relocate to an area that we may deem that this activity is appropriate to have an establishment in. But it wouldn't immediately affect anyone that's out there selling these products anywhere in the city of Oswego. It would affect any pending applications. That's the way that the proposed moratorium is written. And it also defines what those establishments are, what they're selling, which is, again, mostly smoke products, the paraphernalia, the Delta 8. It wouldn't, for instance, negate the adult use cannabis dispensary that's actually been approved and it's going through renovations to a particular location, because that went through the legal process and it's located in the exact area of the city that we determined that particular activity should occur.
So, you said earlier in your presentation that all of these folks had to go in front of the planning board to submit their plans and their intentions, and having formally been on the planning board, I'm aware that we would put contingencies and restrictions in place that we've explored with them. If these folks are not in compliance, what sort of remediation abilities we have in that regard?
Yeah, we do have written into the code currently, we have some enforcement and administrative remedies. I think they, again, need to be looked at. I think we need to make them stronger and more punitive, frankly, because right now, it's not deterring this activity.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks. Mr. Gozer?
Yeah, my question is, I've never heard of this Delta 8 with these products. If it says here in the descriptions that they're not permitted to be sold or manufactured in the state of New York, but, excuse me, in the New York State Cannabis Hemp Board, but where are they coming from? Where does this stuff come from? And how does it get to these, shops? Is that enough to close them down? I'm sorry.
Yeah, China, a lot of it's coming from China, a lot of it's being purveyed by Middle Eastern entrepreneurs. It's a worldwide problem, but it's coming into the United States and into our small communities such as Oswego. Delta 8, again, I don't know, I know what I've read, but it's a derivative of the hemp plant. It's the THC, but hemp produces natural THC, but it's on such a low level that it doesn't really give you the high that the THC versus CBD, right? The cannabis oil is the natural kind of organic product, right? That doesn't get you high, but when you add the THC to the cannabis, that's what gets the high. The Delta 8 is the hemp derivative. It's THC, but then it's supercharged oftentimes with chemicals that are unregulated, like the chief said, are coming from China and overseas, and they're manufactured all over the place and put in and then packaged up very, very nicely, and they look like, they're attractive to the youth, and they buy into it. You may recall Teresa Wilson in the WOW Foundation. Her son was a victim of one of these derivatives, the K2 and spice. But these are, as Chief will tell you, these are all just constant derivatives of the same illegal chemicals and drugs that are being pumped into our communities.
But they're not illegal, though. So, how are they getting, I just don't understand how these shops, this is
The
legitimate.
chemical compounds, they change them so regularly that they don't fall under.
The law can't keep up with it.
Right, so the county just changed their law to broaden it for synthetic drugs. All right, so with this stuff, and the city attorney kind of hit on it, but the concern here is we don't want neighborhoods that are on the rebound from, the last 8 or 10 years of progress to have these types of businesses placed there. And then you have kids that have the availability of this product right there that's being indiscriminately sold to them. So they kind of pump the brakes. You're starting to see like Syracuse and other larger cities that have had all these, bodegas, for lack of a better term, pop up. They're trying to put the brakes on those now. So we're taking a proactive approach to kind of stay ahead of the curve and make sure we don't have that issue.
But we can't shut these places down if they sell this stuff. It just seems like, isn't that
And a lot,
that's all, I just.
in New York State, like the city attorney said, New York State's overwhelmed. They created all these laws with legalization of marijuana and, under the guise that it was going to be regulated. They didn't have the regulation piece in place for that. So it's fallen on deaf ears with both of us trying to get assistance from the state. We have other businesses in the city that we have known, they're selling these products, they're selling, loose marijuana, whatever, and it's falling on deaf ears. And it may be because they don't have enough staff, but trying to get that assistance when this is a rampant issue. Throughout New York State, it's been next to impossible.
Thank you for the explanation. I just wasn't aware of it, and I'd never heard of this before, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I guess just to, may I, Sean? I guess just to reemphasize something that both you and the city attorney had mentioned, that this isn't like just something recreational. This is causing harm to folks in our community, and it's even caused deaths and serious injury in the past. So this isn't something that really we should take away heartedly.
We've had certain products tested, and they're all the same product, they're all the some are stronger than others, and, you know, so we're just.
Thank you.
And again, I know I had circulated this previously, but, you know, the packaging here too shouldn't be overlooked. It's catered to attracting, you know, youthful users with names like Cake and, you know, Yoga and Lost Mary and just
Pretty benign names that.
it's very benign, but you've got, you know, elf bars and, you know, it's just, who needs this in our community? And to the extent that it can't be completely prohibited, at least we can regulate it and put it in a certain area of the town. Make it difficult to go out and get your product if you so choose to do that. But also make sure that there's enough enforcement mechanisms in place that if these establishments do open up as one thing and then turn into another, we've got the ability to try to shut them down as quickly as we can. Right now, we just don't have all the tools in place, and we're asking, so the nature of this moratorium is to kind of put the brakes on these types of establishments, give us at least 6 months. I would dare to say it's going to take us 6 to 12 months to fully study and put regulations in place, and then ultimately adopt a local law that will eventually modify our zoning code and perhaps even create a specific local law that deals with the enforcement of these types of establishments.
See, I know, I read your draft, the moratorium, I believe we
Yeah.
all did, we've gotten it. I didn't know if you wanted to take action on this tonight, or do you want to just discuss?
Well, what I'd like to do is, you know, consider it introduced tonight, and then what I would suggest, if this council is amenable, is to have it on the agenda as an agenda item for next Monday for the full council to establish a public hearing, because it is a local law, right? You have to adopt a local law to pass this moratorium. The local law is subject to a public hearing. You have to have so many days' notice. So I think if we introduce it next Monday night and establish the public hearing next Monday night, we could have that public hearing on the 23rd of September, and by the end of the month, this moratorium would be in place.
Okay.
So do you need us to put a motion forward to advance this then? What do you need us to say right now?
I will need a motion to
Have a public hearing.
to hold a public hearing.
Okay.
Do I got a motion for public hearing? Counselor Allen, Counselor Plunkett?
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no more new business, could I get the proper motion?
To adjourn?
Counselor Plunkett, Counselor Allen?
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
This time I'd like to call the Physical Service Committee to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Counselor Burridge?
Here.
Counselor Benucci?
Here.
Counselor Walker?
Here.
Counselor Gosick?
Here.
I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 19th, 2024 committee meeting, please. Counselor Gozick, Counselor Benucci.
Counselor Burridge?
Yes.
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Gosick?
Yes.
See no old business, we'll move on to new business. Number one, the Zoning and Planning Office has received a request for use of public space from Ashley Jones, owner of a single-family dwelling located at 86 West Oneida Street, to install a new curb garden. Does anybody here like to speak on the matter? Any of the counselors? Like to have a motion? Counselor Benucci, Counselor Gozick.
Counselor Burridge?
Yes.
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Gosick?
Yes.
Number two, the Office of Economic Development has received a request for use of public space from Bobby Joe Lewis to host a wedding reception at the Marina Pavilion on Saturday, September 14, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Is there anybody here like to speak on that matter? Any of the counselors? Can I have a motion on that, please? Counselor Gozick, Counselor Walker.
Counselor Burridge?
Yes?
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Gosick?
Yes.
Number 3, the Office of Economic Development has received a request for use of public space from Christy Salvador to host the Hooters Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Walk at the McRobey Building at Ann Breakback Park on Sunday, October 20th, 2024, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Is there anybody here who'd like to speak on that matter? We just have your name, please.
Christy Salvador. We requested the use of Brightback Park to do a breast cancer walk for the foundation of Susan G. Komen. It's a breast cancer foundation that helps women and men pay for things such as transportation, food, co-pays, a lot of the various things that come up when you are being treated for breast cancer that you don't know that happen until you go through it, things that insurance don't pay for. We want to also create a place and time for those who have been affected by the disease to come together, to have support, show support for one another, and so those who are going through treatment right now can see some other people who have been through it, and we can support them through that. And also we want to raise awareness for early detection for breast cancer. Myself and another Hooter, Paula Hayden, we both are breast cancer survivors. Paula is 5 years? 5 years. And I'm a year and a half. And we're both here right now because of early detection. It's huge. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't go for my regular mammogram, because my form of cancer was very aggressive, and it was caught very, very quickly, very early, and I had treatment, and Paula also. So we want to give back to the community. We want to earn money for the Susan G. Komen Foundation. We want to spread awareness, and we also want to support those in our community that are affected by breast cancer.
Any questions? Thank you. I appreciate your service. Can I have a motion, please? Counselor Vanucci, Counselor Gozick.
Counselor Burridge?
Yes.
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Gosick?
Yes.
I'd like to move on to number 4. The Office of Economic Development has received a request for the use of public space from the Deason's House to host a community game night at the Washington Square Park on Tuesday, September 10th, 2024, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Anybody here like to speak on that matter? Can I have a motion on it?
She's here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll just say really quickly that the Daison's House is a nonprofit organization that supports women rebuilding their lives from addiction. And we've been meeting throughout the summer, kind of informally, with a bunch of other organizations, all dedicated to helping people kind of get back on their feet. And this is our last game night of the summer, and we wanted to formally request use of the electricity so that we can have live music performers and just kind of celebrate the season together. Yeah, are there any questions?
I think we're all set. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion on that? Counselor Walker, Counselor Vanucci.
Counselor Burridge?
Yes.
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Gosick?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
The Office of Economic Development has received a request from Susan McBurdy for use of public space to host a block party along West 5th Street on Saturday, September 14th, 2024, from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. This is a rescind and replace. Anybody here like to speak on the matter? Can I have a motion? Counselor Gozick, Counselor Walker.
Counselor Burridge?
Yes.
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Gosick?
Yes.
This time I'd like to have a motion to close the meeting. Counselor Gozick, Counselor Vanucci.
Counselor Burridge?
Yes.
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Gosick?
Yes.
No, sorry.
This time I would like to call to order the Administrative Services Committee. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Plunkett?
Here.
Counselor Burridge?
Here.
Counselor Allen,
Here.
Counselor Benucci,
Here.
Counselor Walton.
Here.
I'd like a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting from August 19th, 2024. Counselor Walton, Counselor Allen.
Counselor Plunkett,
Yes.
Counselor Burridge,
Yes.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Benucci,
Yes.
Counselor Walton.
Yes.
Is there any old business? Okay, let's move on to new business. Item number 1 under authorization. Jeff Hinderleiter, city engineer, requests approval of a proposal submitted by Paletti Engineering PLLC for professional services at the East Side wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $22,060. City engineer Hinderleiter?
Good evening. So you'll recall that we recently have done an electrical upgrade at the East Side plant. As that project has matured, we've noticed a number of electrical issues occurring, and in following up with the design engineers, they've looked at their stuff, they've looked at testing, and they affirm their design is fine, but there are some just oddities that are occurring. And so we thought it beneficial to bring in a third party who didn't design the job to come in and diagnose and take a look at it. Mr. Paletti has done a number of projects for the city, including the high dam, a lot of electrical upgrades for that. And so he gives us a lot of bang for the buck. And so he will come in and analyze the system, do testing, and try to diagnose where these issues are coming from so we can come up with a plan to stop them. And an example of one of the issues that's happening is there's what's called a tiebreaker, and essentially it's meant to balance power. And what's happening, because this tiebreaker is chronically closed, the generator won't fire. You have to like manually put it. If we lose power, someone has to step in and take action, which isn't really what you want for an automatic generator at a sewer plant. And so part of this is to figure out what's going on and come up with a plan to fix it. The funding for this is currently budgeted dollars within the 8130-440 account. So there's no financial impact for this.
Any questions? Counselor Allen?
So, Jeff, I meant to reach out to you prior to this meeting to ask a few questions that I had on this. Was this a bid contract?
Is a bid contract?
Yeah. Was this
No, it's
competitive?
exempt.
Okay. So, you've looked it over, you've vetted it, and it looked good. I was just trying to understand what the project was going to entail, so I read through just the documents that are in our packet here, and using on the one page, and I apologize, my screen's not rendering very quickly here, $150 an hour for on-site and $100 an hour for some engineering and some other work.
Mm-hmm.
So then if I take that and I look at the costs, just to review plant equipment, $1,200, so that's several man-hours worth of just looking at drawings and maybe some schematics, and then the testing component of it. Unless I'm not understanding something, that seems like a pretty standard evolution where you would just pull some of these PT fuses, do some testing, have people at each end, kind of a situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed a little high to me, but have you looked at that and understood the scope of the work, and does it make sense to you?
It does. What I'll tell you with Gabe is and we generally tell our consultants, it can be a challenge for us to come back for more. I'd like them to be reasonable, but also if you think there's going to be a chance to overrun, I'd rather identify that and come up with that in our budget.
Okay.
What I'll say is Gabe, he is not one who is going to, in our previous invoicing with him, if he doesn't use those hours, we don't get billed for them.
Okay, thank you.
And oftentimes, if he uses more than those hours, he won't ask for more. So he's a one-man show who did a lot of power plant and process electrical design. Very qualified. So
yeah, I read his credentials. I was very impressed. I just, once again, when I was looking especially at the testing component of it, it just seemed to be a pretty not time-intensive evolution. So I just felt that number might be a little bit.
Yeah, I would say that if we have any concerns, Gabe is always open to us to say, can we look at that number? And if the council is more comfortable saying, you know what, can we talk to him to bring that down? and then we'll have a second conversation. If more funding is needed, you're welcome to amend and ask that as a council.
Okay, well, I think I trust your judgment, and if you say you have that kind of relationship with them, I just wanted to bring to your attention that, you know, maybe we need to
Sure,
have that
sure. Some of this
conversation,
stuff,
so-
I'm a civil engineer. I
Yeah.
like dirts and rock and, you know, concrete and steel. Most electrical things are black voodoo boxes. Something happens inside that I don't quite understand. And so when it comes to electrical things, I have to ask a lot of questions, and Gabe's always been game for that. So certainly, I will communicate to him that, you know, we'll want to see his hourly breakdown, and he does pretty good with that, and that
Okay.
he knows that this is a not to exceed, and that if we don't use all of this, he's not eligible for it.
Great, all right, and if you think of it, maybe let us know how it shook out.
Absolutely,
All right, thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you, Counselor Allen.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Can I get a motion, please? Counselor Burridge, Counselor Vernucci.
Counselor Plunkett,
Yes.
Counselor Burridge,
Yes.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci,
Yes.
Counselor Walton.
Yes.
Item number 2, Jeff Hinderleiter, City Engineer, requests authorization for the mayor to sign change order number 5 with W.D. Malone in the amount of $31,434.91 to account for adjustments to the Oswego Riverwalk West Wall Reconstruction Project, decreasing the contract's total amount. Mr. Hinderleiter?
It's not often I come to you asking for a decrease, but the Riverwalk project is winding down at the parts that we can do. As you are probably aware, we've had to close the high wall section in order for us to, and you approved previously, to hire B&L as they've put the project together to do a further geotechnical analysis down there, which they're in process of lining up their consultant who's going to be doing that, specializes in that. And so what we've done on the contract is to remove that scope of work from W.D. Malone's work, and then we had to secure that area. So this change order is really getting to close out. So when you read the nature of it, you have overruns and underruns, and it's balancing the books. And then we did add in the fencing that's down there that's a little more sturdy than the temporary fencing with sandbags, in order to try to tighten that area off to keep anyone from trespassing in there. It's not a great place to be, and we tried to secure it as best we can. So this change order will kind of settle the books and results in a net reduction on the project of $31,434.91. And as I was trained by the former president of the council, to bring the project to a total of $2,253,513.36.
Great.
You're
Any
welcome.
questions? Can I get a motion, please? Counselor Allen, Counselor Walton.
Counselor Plunkett,
Yes.
Counselor Burridge,
Yes.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci,
Yes.
Counselor Walton.
Yes.
Item number 3, Jeff Hinderleiter, City Engineer, requests authorization for the City Chamberlain to complete a budget amendment to the High Dam Personal Services overtime account in the amount of $8,497.25 to cover overtime costs.
So at the High Dam, we have 2 individuals who respond to alarms, and during our toe scour project and other upgrades that have happened, have had to respond to things, especially with the controls coming online. Over the course of the last, 7 months, they've incurred about just under $3,997.25 worth of overtime beyond what was budgeted. And so we have a deficit there in our High Dam budget. Looking forward to the rest of the year, we want that facility to be on. What that means is that if it trips, somebody's got to come in and start it back up. And it seems silly to not pay for that. A single weekend, if the units aren't able to run, we can lose up to $10,000 in revenue just by not being on. It makes sense to be able to call someone in and get that on, even if we pay them a couple $100s to do so. So this is just a request to settle the book, to go ahead and fund the overdraw on the overtime, but then also allocate an additional $4,500 into the overtime budget so that we don't have to worry about that for the rest of the year. And next year's budget, I believe we did include what we think is a reasonable amount for overtime expectations next year.
Very good. Any questions? Can I get a motion, please? Counselor Allen, Counselor Burge.
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Burge?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walton?
Yes.
Item number 4, Fire Chief Paul Canzone requests authorization for the City Chamberlain to accept a grant for the United States Department of Homeland Security in the amount of $67,539.01 to be used to purchase new equipment. Chief Canzone?
Good evening. This is a federal grant with a 5% match. It's going to be for equipment. So hazardous materials meters, 2 firefighter gear washers, and replace a outdated, not working drying cabinet for gear. So 5% match, about $3,200 that we'll have to pay, and we'll be able to buy about $64,000 worth of equipment with it. So, questions?
Any questions for the chief? Can I get a motion, please? Counselor Allen, Counselor Vernucci.
Thank you.
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Burge?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walton?
Yes.
Thank you, Chief Canzone. Item number 5, Police Chief Phil Cady requests authorization for the City Chamberlain to accept a grant from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services eBurn JAG program in the amount of $61,263 to be used to purchase a new fully outfitted patrol vehicle. Chief Cady?
Thank you. As Councilor Plunkett just said, we kind of hedged our bet when we had our budget meeting, and it worked out. So this will be allow Ms. Code to disperse funds to us so that we can purchase a police car, and then New York State will reimburse us for that cost.
Any questions for the chief? Counselor Allen?
Yeah, just refresh my memory. What's the anticipated delivery time once it's?
So we were able to find a vehicle on the lot in Albany, which they're holding for us, so probably 2 months.
Oh,
2 months.
great.
So it was already upfitted. Another department had purchased it and then backed out of the purchase. So it's
good. Their losses are
90% ready to go. Yeah, their loss
Great.
are gained.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any more questions for the chief?
It's the same question.
Okay.
Can I get a motion, please? Counselor Vernucci, Counselor Burge.
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Burge?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Benucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Cady. Item number 6, the wastewater department requests authorization for the city chamberlain to complete multiple transfer funds totaling $255,000 to accounts for both the east side wastewater treatment plant and the west side wastewater treatment plant. How are you tonight?
So when the mayor was sitting in that seat, he would always say to me, "Uh-oh, how much is this going to cost us?" Which he has already said to me tonight. Unfortunately, we try to keep the budget as slim as possible, but every once in a while we get hit with something we were not planning on. So if you look at the first one, that is the west side centrifuge repairs that we were not expecting. They come to about $85,000, and so we'd like to move money into that area. We've got problems with the scroll and with the gearbox. They went. Imagine you've got 20 washing machines, front loaders. They're all stacked together, and they're whipping around at 3,000 RPM with sludge in them. And then you know what happens to your dishwasher or your washing machine when it slows down and it's off balance and it moves? Well, do that with a bunch of sludge, and it makes a real ruckus and shakes the whole building. So to piggyback off of that, we're also now looking at new technologies to replace these in the future because they wear out so quickly because of all of the stresses that are put on them. The second thing is supplies and material. This transfer is to the wastewater treatment facility for chemicals to get us to the end of the year. It also deals with some switchgear building breakers and motor control centers, something Jeff had talked about, some of the things that we're seeing since the upgrade. The cost of chemicals, wastewater treatment plant chemicals, have gone just skyrocketed. And they did not stay steady this year. They kept going up, so our budget just got totally blown out of the water. So that's the reason for that. The second one from the east side, $50,000, is for switchgear, breakers, and motor control center. Again, the reason these are different is they're actually in different funds because of the cost of each of them. Some are below $5,000, some are above $5,000, so we've got to move them into different accounts. Then there's another $50,000 from the contingency fund, and this is to cover ventilation in the hypo room and sealing of cracks in the aeration tanks, and some more centrifuge electronics, but on the east side, not on the west side. We've just had, hypo is corrosive, and it corroded out some of our ventilation systems that we weren't expecting it to do, so just over time it goes, and we didn't have that in the budget. And these are a few other things that we've talked about. And that's it.
Any questions? Counselor Walker?
What, you're doing multiple transfers, what are they coming out of?
Contingency fund.
Contingency fund? That's
They're
okay.
all coming from contingency fund.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Walker, any more questions? Can I get a motion, please? Counselor Walton, Counselor Vanucci?
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Bridge?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci?
Yes.
And Counselor Walton?
Yes.
Thank you. Final item, number 7, Craig Revior, Commissioner of Public Works, Parks and Recreation, requests discussion regarding adjustments to the special events fee schedule. This is a rescind and replace. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this? Okay, this is just basic. Can I get a motion, or is there any questions? Get a motion, please? Counselor Burridge, Counselor Vanucci?
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Bridge?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walton?
Yes.
Can I get a motion to adjourn, please? Counselor Allen, Counselor Walton?
Counselor Plunkett?
Yes.
Counselor Bridge?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci?
Yes.
Counselor Walton?
Yes.